Big Things Coming is proudly brought to you by Dazzle Home Loans. Darren's 15 years experience in finance will remove the worry when buying your new home.
Hello!
Hello!
Welcome, everyone. It is I, it is us, it is we. We are here and we are back from a short hiatus period of Big Things Coming. What's up? I'm Geordie.
I'm Mel?
I'm not Johnny.
No, you're not Johnny.
I'm not.
He's had a bit of a change of a look here.
He has.
Right?
He has, that's right. Yeah.
How are you, Pete? It's so nice to have you join us up here.
Yeah, it's great. It's
Be in
great.
front of the camera instead of behind it.
I'm not in front of it a lot, as you know, because I'm always behind it on these shows. So it's good to be here. That's good.
Yes.
But you are here today on a special episode.
Absolutely.
Filling in for something that you're quite knowledgeable about.
Totally is.
Knowledgeable, is that a word?
Knowledgeable. It's a big word for a Sunday morning.
You have a lot of knowledge on this topic because we have a special guest in the place today.
Absolutely, yeah. And this is a guest who I met in 2018.
Yeah, long time.
So we're looking at 7 years now. And when I met
Wow.
her, she was 18.
Yes.
Wow.
And she played an actress in my film, a barmaid, sorry. She is an actor in my film who plays a barmaid.
Yeah.
And who is now a full-fledged filmmaker of her own right. She wrote a feature film. She wrote it, directed it, performed in it, edited it, coloured it, everything. And I had the privilege of doing the cinematography for her and some of the sound design. But the ability of this young woman is amazing. And her name is Emilie Lowe.
Oh, Emily. I'm just going to say, I want Pete to introduce me every time because that was the best introduction I've ever heard. Like,
That was really good.
it was lovely to have you on the show today. Thank you for coming in.
No worries. I just want to have him there when I'm walking around, just always gassing me up. Thank you, Pete.
Everybody needs a Pete.
That's all right.
So tell us, how did you get into this world of filmmaking?
Yeah, I mean, I've loved film since when I could see. I started watching film.
Yeah.
It's always been a big part of my life. My family exposed me to a lot of media growing up, so I knew film was where I wanted to go. And I studied it a lot in high school and also at university. And like Peter said, we first met in 2018 with his film. I messaged him, I think, on Facebook.
It was, yeah. Random message. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, if you need anyone, I'm here. And
So you
it
guys
was
didn't know each other before
not at
that?
all.
You just
Total
sort of-
cold call. But the
Okay.
thing, and I was so green in the industry myself. I just started this film.
Yeah.
No one knew who I was. I didn't know how to operate a camera, let alone make a film. So the trust that these people put in me to say, I want to be a part of your film. So it was amazing to have that confidence from her. But also the role that Emilie played was so. It was so captivating the way she performed. As a young 18-year-old, that's really rare to find, you know, just such an accomplished actor. So I wrote a bit more of her into the film. And since then, we've done a lot of like short films together. Okay. And then when this massive project, which I'm sure you're going to talk about soon, The Canary came up, I just jumped at it. It was probably the most logistically difficult film I've ever made.
Okay.
And it was amazing.
You're
It was
good
so
at logistics, though. I know that.
You know what? Like, we'll get into some of the
tested.
nitty gritty.
We
But
both got a little bit traumatized, I think, from making it.
I get seasick standing on a boat that's docked.
Oh, I'm
And
the
we were-
same. I can't stand on a floating jetty. Like my equilibrium.
Yeah.
It just
So there's some stuff
something
in this
happens.
film that we'll talk about that we got into.
Okay, I can't wait. Shall we dig?
Yeah, so I mean, I've loved film forever. I love doing directing, I love doing cinematography, acting, screenwriting, and I'd done, like Pete said, a couple shorts with him, with other people, and I knew that I wanted to do a big feature. So I thought, let me pick the hardest possible thing for myself and my tiny, tiny crew. We had about 5 people all up make it, $10,000.
Wow.
And yeah, I think, as Pete will attest to, I picked a very difficult thing, but it's gone so well and we're very proud of it.
Well, the hard thing about it wasn't that it was a feature film. All feature films are hard. But she had a soul survivor set in a period piece and a canary. So we had a live animal. We had her. And that's,
Oh my gosh,
it was
okay.
90% of the film, if 95% of the film is just Emilie on screen with this canary. And obviously without giving away the plot, but they basically have to exist on this film by themselves for like 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's a long film.
Yes.
But it was visually, we had to be on the ocean. So I'd be in a dinghy, filming her in a dinghy, and my cameras don't autofocus, so I had to be constantly on it, seasick, and she was seasick too.
And I was like wanting very specific, very difficult shots, half extreme
Amazing.
close-ups.
Yeah.
And I was like, Pete, you're gonna hate me, but these are the shots that I want in this film. Can you
and we
do
got it. We got it done.
We
And
got
you
it
know, and
done.
obviously Emily also did some cinematography herself. She filmed herself as well. So it was really an amazing opportunity for me to get into the more difficult side of filmmaking. And it was because of your opportunity. You gave me the opportunity that time. The first film was for me giving you one, but you gave me a massive one with the Canary.
Wow,
Amazing.
I've got so many questions and so many like visuals going on in my head, and I'm trying not to think about poor Pete getting seasick.
That's right. Well, Emily too. She wasn't immune.
I was in full AM Victorian, full corset, full dress,
Oh my gosh.
gloves, bonnet on this tiny little.
Full costume design, by the
Full-
way.
yes.
Not just a writer. She did the costume design and everything,
Yeah,
and
the
makeup.
Yes,
And
the,
makeup,
the
everything.
costume was handmade
Yeah.
by a WA seamstress as well, so full like unique dress. And we're filming on this 100-year-old dinghy, so actually a vintage dinghy, just a wooden boat, drifting off to some very ominous rocks with the film. But yeah, we got it done, and
Yeah.
it looks amazing. We've had such amazing response. So.
Oh, I want to see it so badly.
It's awesome.
I really want to know, is the Canary like connected to you personally?
It was my pet.
Right,
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Aw.
And honestly, she's the best actress in the film.
Oh,
Amazing. A bit of a diva, but she was good.
She's a diva. Both divas, but no, she was a diva. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to talk about what the film's about
Please.
and some of the
Go
experiences.
through.
Please
Yeah,
do.
so I knew that for my first film, I wanted to do something quite different and a challenge, because I personally wasn't getting the roles that I really wanted to do, the really meaty roles where I could really have a big character arc. So I was like, I'm going to make one myself.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Let's make it ourselves, which I think is very WA. you know?
Yeah, yeah.
We often don't get some of the advantages here. So
Yeah.
we've got that very let's do it ourselves spirit, which
Yeah.
pretty much encapsulates the whole vibe of the film.
Okay.
So it's set in the 1800s, and it follows my character, who's called Florence. Her passenger vessel, which we filmed on the Lewin, sinks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she's cast
Did a full
adrift.
boat in there? Almost did.
She's cast adrift on the open ocean in a lifeboat with nothing but the caged canary beside her. And it's about her overcoming the standards of the time, finding the will to survive, and saying, you know what, no one's coming for me. Am I going to lay down and die, or am I going to try everything it takes to survive? And it's about her overcoming those challenges.
Beautiful. Sounds very powerful as well, right?
Well, it's a thing that I've noticed a lot is there's the trope of, you got to save the damsel in distress. The women can't save themselves. It's such a tired old thing in films. And there's even filmmakers today, which I won't name names, who do that still.
Right.
And it's very, I don't know, it's a bit of an underlying, I don't know, I don't like that at all. It's so old and antiquated, that vibe.
It totally is.
Emily's taken it where, well, no, I'm and especially that time period. The way you've done this film, it is a women's empowerment film, but it's a survival film that you take you own your destiny. And I think it's really
exactly.
important. It's a
And-
really important narrative.
Yeah, something I really wanted to make sure as well. Often in these films where they try to show like an empowered woman, it's like she must rip her dress and cut her hair and she's a warrior now. I just don't think that's realistic for a lot of women, and a lot of people can't relate to that.
Yeah.
So she doesn't just become she can carry a massive boat and she's a warrior. You know, she uses what she has. She uses the fabric she has. She uses her intelligence and her wit to come out of these things. She doesn't become some massive She-Hulk out of nowhere.
Yeah, of course.
And we had like men and women and children all say they related to it a lot. I think because we kept it very grounded and I kept it very human.
Yeah.
It's a human experience of overcoming challenge.
Of
It's
course.
not a women's film or a men's
No.
film or this or that. It's just a film of humans finding the will to survive and try and do what they can.
Beautiful. I was going to ask you how much sort of research did you have to do on that particular period of time? You know, obviously there has, unless you had knowledge, you know, steeped in that originally, but, you know, I'm guessing that there would have been a lot of research into that period with, you know, the clothing to make it look authentic, the boats, even the language spoken, the tone of
Yes.
voice,
Yeah.
that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I made sure that like we used like colloquial language from the time and jargon that was used at the time. And you know, with the budget we had, we tried to get the clothing as accurate as possible, the mannerisms that we used, the ideology at the time as well. That was really important to try and keep it grounded, and people would watch it and believe that it was from that time period.
Yeah.
And WA is not known for its like historical landmarks.
No, not really.
No, but we
had
were
a couple
able to
in
film-
Fremantle, I guess.
Yeah, but we were
But
able
we're
to
a young,
film-
we're a young place, you know, by
exactly.
standards.
But
yeah.
we were able to film in places like we filmed at the Amity Brig in Albany. We filmed at what was that? The tunnel, the really cool.
Oh, it's Swanview Tunnel.
Yeah, Swanview Tunnel.
Up in John
Yeah.
Forest.
Yeah.
Oh,
Classic.
okay, okay.
Yeah, we filmed on the Lewin, so we
Yeah.
were able to really use like some of the little kind of niche things that WA had. To
And some of
make
the
it
stuff
look
doesn't
like
exist
it.
anymore, like the Secret
No,
Garden. That's gone now.
exactly. Yeah, Lewin as
the
well.
marine is now in the way of the Ocean Reef where we
Yes.
filmed.
Yeah.
So there's a few little time capsules here in the film that don't exist anymore. The
In Perth?
locations
Oh,
are gone. Yeah.
So how long ago did you film?
We started filming in 2021 when I was
Okay.
21. It took about, I think about 2 years to film all up
Yep.
because I was at uni at the time,
Sure.
both working.
Yeah.
And then it took about a year to edit, and we released it at the very end of last year, start of this year
Yep.
in cinemas.
Wow.
And how many awards?
A lot. Yeah, it's done really well.
It's on the international
internationally.
film circuit, and the thing is, it's great to win an award for a film like best writing or best film. That's amazing. Emily's got one in every category, like the costumes to acting to writing to, and that's a really rare thing on a film. You might get one or two
course.
categories. So to get all of that, and don't forget, she was 21 when she did this. It wasn't like she's 25 now, and she's 21.
Yeah, that's
it's amazing.
incredible.
Yeah, amazing
Such
stuff.
an incredible achievement. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Like, that's just, it's amazing.
Speechless.
That's it.
But it is like we had like a tiny team of people doing it, $10,000, and yes, I took on 1 million roles, but everyone really contributed a lot, and I couldn't have done it without the support.
We say everyone. It was me and Emily, her mum and her dad. That is the crew that we
Yeah.
did. That was the whole team.
Are you kidding?
And the Canary, of course. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the
Called
Canary.
Stomp.
Yeah.
Her name was
Forget that.
Stomp.
We had a couple people like Nicholas Gardner did.
Yeah, for the
music,
post-production,
the
yes.
post-production, but just the actual filming, it was just 4 of us
Yeah.
for the whole film.
My gosh.
Amazing. Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, sometimes I'd like set up, if Pete wasn't there, I'd set up the camera, run into the shot,
That's
do
right,
this
that's right.
emotional crying scene, and then run back. It was out of focus, no,
Yep.
and then you like do it again. So
And that's
Yeah.
part of the thing about making your own film when you're just starting out. You don't have the luxury of having a 50-person crew.
Of course.
So sometimes you just got to do the grunt work yourself, and that is a good thing to develop your skills. Emily wouldn't have been a great editor if she didn't need to
taught
edit herself.
myself, yeah.
A color grader. I mean, the color grading in this film, which is one of the final processes related to sort of like mastering of a song. Color grading is when you finally get the good look of your film. You're a master at it. These people charge tens of thousands just to color grade.
Right.
Emily did it herself. So that skill alone is going to give her so much grounding in this industry later on
That's
as a
amazing.
post-production expert.
and all it took was a couple of sleepless nights and many tears.
A couple of
$10,000.
couple
It's
of
how you
hundred.
learn, though,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah, it's how
Yes.
you learn. And
Yeah.
I think, like, as I'm no way near involved in film or, anything like that.
But you've been on set.
I have.
Yep.
I have plenty of times, but I haven't been behind that. So to hear how you're talking about it, I mean, I know what goes into it because
Yeah.
I've worked with Pete, you know. So just to hear that you had that absolute drive and tenacity and forward thinking to be like, I actually don't need anybody. I'm very self-sufficient, and I'm going to
Yeah.
show you just how clever I am.
I think
You know?
like a lot of people, you need that drive because
Yeah.
it is like everyone here can probably attest to, and whether it's music or film, it's really, really hard to
Yeah.
make it independently.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will be like, yes, I want to be on screen, I want to be on set, and they'll start, but they won't actually finish it because
Yep.
it's a lot of effort.
Oh yeah, of course.
A lot of effort.
Oh, I know it. I've been through a lot, and
Yeah.
so I know how much work it takes to do something independently, and
Yes.
it is a lot, and it speaks volumes about your passion for it.
Yep.
Your, like I was saying before, your forward thinking, what
Yep.
you want to see come out of it, and oh my gosh, like you're going to be sought after.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely it.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, like I said, you had to do so much of it yourself, not just the writing and acting and all that stuff, but the post-production, which is the editing, the color grading, that stuff, that skill that you pay teams of people to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
Here's one person who can do it. And that's one thing I learned from my first film is that when you do that, when you can be a jack of all trades, you eventually do become so good at it that you are hired by other people to do
Yeah.
this. So you can almost make it a profession just working for other people's films.
Yeah.
And do it by doing it yourself. And the thing that drives that is budget. If you haven't got a budget to make your film, if you haven't got tens of thousands to make a film, you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
It's kind of a good thing in a way.
Of
Because
course.
you're forced
Yeah.
to learn and do it yourself.
Yeah.
And nothing will ever be as hard again.
No,
Maybe not, but-
that's right. You learn you make so many mistakes along the way, you never do them again. And that's the best way to learn for me
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
I can't just
say
read a
this
book and
a
do
lot
it.
as well. Like a lot of people will spend like so much money going to film school, which for some people that's the perfect
Sure,
thing.
sure.
But I learned so much more than I did in my degree doing this film.
Yep.
I've got like 10 degrees in one, whether it
I know
was
what you mean, yeah.
production design, acting,
That hands-on,
very hands-on.
that hands-on approach
Yeah.
is where you learn stuff,
Totally.
right?
Definitely. And you
Absolutely.
have a product at the end as well. So like
Yeah.
if people can't afford or don't want to go to film school, I would say literally just make your own stuff
Yeah.
that you want to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
And don't care about if it's going to be good for the critics or, the highbrow. Just make what you want to see.
Yep.
And then you're going to actually be passionate about it.
Totally it.
So let's talk about a little bit about I want to know how you acquired at such a young age, how you acquired the things that you needed in order to do a film, like in terms of camera, in terms of stuff like that. So is it like, I know Pete's got some beautiful cameras and they're worth a lot of money and things like that. Did you have the same sort of?
Well, I don't have this many cameras, but I do have some cameras and lenses. And I've always worked since high school and through uni. So
Yeah.
I pretty much make my paycheck and then spend it on film stuff and then go and shoot, then back to work. Yes, it's a back and forth thing. We were also very lucky to have a couple people donate some money to the film. But like I said, we had $10,000 for a 2-hour-long period feature-length film. And we, did very difficult things in it. We were filming with snakes, filming storm scenes, drone shots.
And just for context, that $10,000 would literally be a 2-hour shoot.
Yeah.
On a real film set,
Right.
So it's a stupidly low budget. On film festivals, you can put in different categories. One of them is micro budget, $250,000 or under.
Yeah.
That's a micro budget.
US as well.
Okay.
Insane. It's ridiculous. So the fact we did it on that, just to give context, you think $10,000, that's a lot. That's a whole album. Not for a film. It's like 2 hours shoot.
Of course.
So,
Not for that kind of filming.
So as I said, we have to find clever ways to make a shot look real. So when you look at this film, you won't think that's cost $10,000. You hopefully would think it cost a couple of million. The visual aspect of it and just the storyline and the acting and everything, you think there's a lot of money behind this. And there was in kind because we just had to put our money into it at time. But the result at the end is so slick and so professional, down to Emilie, nothing to do with me. I shot it, but she did everything else.
Right.
So my hat's off to her. It's amazing what she's done.
Wow.
Speaking of which, the short film you're talking about now, which is the next adventure. What did you learn from the Canary that has made it easier for the short film, or not?
So I'm currently in the process of finishing a 35-minute short film called Where Dead Things Grow, which is written and starring by Zach Clifford. And this film, I made sure I was organised for the Canary. I made sure I was really organised, which helped a lot with the difficult shoots. But this, I was like super organised. And I made sure I didn't make any of the same mistakes again. I had a massive card get corrupt, and I think Peter you did as well.
Oh, yeah.
Card corruption, which we had to scramble to fix. So I made sure I backed up a million times, back up.
Right.
But with say the Canary and even this film, a lot of people for their first film will make maybe like a road trip film or a horror film because it is a little bit easier to do that. And no matter what you do, it's difficult. But I think going so difficult really helped with future projects because I think going as hard as possible, as most intense as possible, then you'll never have to do something as difficult as that.
Or if you face something
that's
that's difficult, you've done it before.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if you've got a bold idea, I would just say, just do it.
Yeah.
If people say, people were saying to me, oh, that's going to be too hard, just do something easier. I was like, hell no.
Yeah.
I
get that. I totally get it.
Yeah.
I do.
And I'm sure, I don't know that much about the music industry, to be honest, but I'm sure people will say, just base your songs off this because this is popular. But if you have your own style, even if there's not like a direct audience, people will find you and people will relate to you.
Yeah.
And this film has gotten such great reception from international and WA people.
We've got some DVDs, you say?
Yes,
That can be purchased?
We had a cinema release back at Luna and Backlot, and we had full sold out screenings, which we were so overwhelmed by. Everyone kind of wanted to support it, which we're very grateful for. But now we have DVDs coming on sale. Ooh, very exciting. And this is for anyone who either wants to see it again or wasn't able to come to the screening or just wants a copy of it.
Yeah.
They're going to be available on the website, which is www.saltandhoneyproductions.com.au.
That would be wonderful. Pete's going to slap that on the screen.
I will, right here.
So you can either buy normal DVD, signed copy of the DVD, posters, and we have all the information on there more about the film, the trailer, BTS, about people that were involved with it, sneak peeks. If you buy the DVD, you'll have special bloopers, which are very funny because there is some really weird stuff that happened on this film. So that's a good chance.
I can't wait to see it. I cannot wait. I'm
It's
excited.
amazing. It's so cool. And also just to mention, because obviously we mentioned there was 4 of us that made this film, but in the post-production we had a composer come on board, Nick Gardner, who made the score for it.
Yes.
And
Amazing,
what you can do with a score these days compared to, even when I started doing it back in 2016, I made a score for a film called Decadent and Depraved.
Okay.
Great to have, you got orchestras, you got whatever.
Yeah.
These days, for example, you have an orchestra, but you can actually type in what you want them to say or to sing or whatever, and perform that syllable by syllable, and the choir sings that for you, the words.
What?
And it sounds real. It's amazing. And what Nick's done is crafted this amazing score. And all these tools, it feels like you've got, a John Williams,
Right.
John Williams score. It's incredible.
Yeah, and we so I asked him to do very classical style, Joker-esque, deep strings.
Yeah.
I don't really know the lingo, but he made it sound incredible. And it was one man doing the whole score for this almost 2.5 hour film.
Yep.
Right.
And we also had Pete's band do the final song.
Oh yeah,
the
as
theme
an
song.
Amplify song on there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Called the Canary now.
Called the Canary, which people have loved that song.
Oh, I think I saw. Is that something you just posted recently?
Possibly. Oh, no, that one there was different. I think this one here, and in fact, I don't know which one you're referring to, but the one that I've, this song, the Canary that we wrote, the reason Amplify exists is because of this song.
Yeah.
Because
Yes, I think
Emily asked me
that's what I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Emily asked me to find to make a theme song for the thing, and they wanted a sort of an Evanescence-esque
Yes,
vibe.
that's what I was saying.
And I just met Amy about 6 months earlier, and I thought I
Okay.
should be a good voice for it. So we made this song together, and then we thought, we'll make another one. And then from there,
That's how it grew.
into our second album for the band. So
Amazing.
really, we've got you to thank for prompting this.
I'll take 10%
Existence.
commission, just a little bit of commission from that. But yeah, the whole film is pretty much about people, I guess, overcoming the odds, which is the theme of the film.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before, we have storm scenes. We'd be filming in my garage, but it looks like we're in the middle of nowhere. We'd have people with fake lightning, wind blower, like a leaf blower, throwing debris on me, and I'm pretending I'm in this massive storm. And people said, like, how did you get that storm? It's like, well,
We created the perfect storm.
yes. I'm meant to be out in the middle of the bush, but we just filmed it, say, down the road. But because WA is so diverse, it looks like I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Totally.
I love
Or like
that.
I'm in the middle of the ocean, but
Yeah.
there's like a marina right there. So it's all about kind of using what you have and then a little bit of tricks of the trade to make it look like.
And just to show how fast technology moves, when we started doing this and when it came to my sound, because I did the sound design for the film, so all the editing of her dialogue and the sound effects and stuff, there were some moments when there was some spillage from like a car going past in the
Or a
background.
dog,
Or
so many dogs.
being a period piece, that doesn't work. So
No, of course not.
Or you hear, that's right, you hear some dogs on the beach. I had to work hard to get that out. Or we actually had to do ADR, so additional dialogue recording, because we had to re-record some of her dialogue because we couldn't use it.
Okay.
A plugin came out from Waves Audio, which it's like an AI generated thing, which actually gets rid of everything but the voice. That came out after we'd finished the
Yes.
film. So
Oh,
you
my
can literally
gosh.
dial out everything that's not a human voice and it's gone. So we could have used her original
would've been
audio.
very
It
useful.
would have saved literally tens of hours of editing
course.
and her coming back to my studio back and forth getting it. So it
I wonder,
moves.
how difficult is that process? Like, do you know if you're going, what was it, ADR?
ADR, yeah.
As
yeah.
additional
dialogue recording.
dialogue
yeah.
recording. So when you go back into the studio to record the dialogue that you're watching on screen,
Yes, yeah.
how difficult is that? Because, you've filmed that in the moment, you're in the moment. Is it hard to go back into that space of being in that moment that you're acting in?
Yeah, so I would be like running on the spot and then get into the booth and I'm like doing the heavy breathing as if I've just come out of the ocean or like I've jumped into the water or something like that.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, for the first couple hours it was fun, and then a couple of weeks later it wasn't so fun.
But there's also an advantage because sometimes you didn't like the way you said something on the day, the take.
Yeah.
So when you re-recorded it, you put yourself in an emotional state to do it differently. So your visual was the same, but you actually sounded a bit different.
Okay.
A bit more sort of airy in the voice,
and
or a
also
bit more sort of
the accent
emotional.
as well. It's kind of like it's not quite British, not quite Australian. It's like
No.
a posh Australian in between.
Very proper.
Yes, but
'Cause you're coming
sometimes,
from- yeah.
sometimes when I'm really emotional, like the Australian accent would come out a little bit too much, and I'd be like, "That's not quite accurate." So I'd have the chance to then go back and just tweak little words,
Yeah.
which was very useful.
I'm really intrigued right now. What would you define as a posh Australian?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's an ambiguous accent because I never really say where it is set. It doesn't really matter
Okay.
where it
Yeah,
is set.
yeah.
The time period matters, but the location doesn't
Right.
really matter.
Well,
that
there's
much.
matter and matter, that
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
that's
Very,
exactly-
very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
close,
Perfect
precise
example.
diction.
Yeah, and so when we went through, I could pick up the little things
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
I
Things like
didn't
that.
quite do. Yeah,
Yep.
that's a perfect example. Yeah.
I just have to watch the movie.
Yeah, that's right, you
to
do.
find out
And
what it
now
sounds
you
like.
can,
Now
now
you
you
can.
can.
You can, that's
So I
right.
just wanted to ask a quick question about how the writing process sort of evolved for you or occurred for you.
Salt and Honey Production.
So in your creative mindset, were you thinking, I'm going to write a period piece and here it goes. So I don't know how you sit and write a movie.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know
there's-
how that works.
There's quite I mean, everyone has their own process.
Right.
My background is in screenwriting, but I'm also dyslexic, so I have kind of a slightly different way I feel like I go about it. I go based on theme.
Okay.
So I know I want this theme. So I knew I wanted overcoming the odds, difficulty and challenges, and a really diverse kind of character arc, really obvious visually, emotionally, colors, visuals, everything like that. The way she looks to be very character-driven character arc. So I was like, how am I going to do that? I'd originally written this as a poem for university.
Okay.
And then I wrote it as a film, but I set it in modern times because I thought it'd be too difficult to do a period film.
You were correct.
I was correct, yes. But then I was like, having it in those days shows that ideology from that time is still prominent in today's world.
Sure.
And coming through those challenges in those times would have been exponentially more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I also really like the visuals of period things, and it's quite different. There's not that many WA things that are 1800s
Mm-hmm.
based survival films. So then I would write the script. I knew I wanted certain visuals in each scene. So I'd be like, this is what I want. I'd draw it out and then work them into the script.
Okay.
And then I would do very, very specific shot lists. Every single shot in the film has an adjacent drawing that I've done. I'm not a very good drawer, so they're stick figures.
Right.
But then I would show that to Pete and be like, this is the exact shot that I want. And he'd work his magic and it would be side by side exactly what I originally wanted.
Wow.
So I do both theme, then I write it, then I have an image, then we shoot it, and then I go use my shot list to do my editing. So it's exactly what I originally planned.
And we got lucky though, because sometimes, for example, the shot at the John Forrest Swanview Tunnel was raining that day, and we thought, oh, okay, well, we'll do it best we can. So all we wanted was the nice framing of the tunnel, but because it was raining, there was a big puddle that had formed. So it formed this amazing reflection in the ground.
Of course.
So we thought, oh, let's use this. So I actually focused the camera on that reflection. So she was upside down with her person she was working with. And that reflection alone, rippling along, and it's such an art. It felt planned. It wasn't planned, you know.
And I get thrown to the ground.
Yes,
in that
and just the
scene.
water hitting your back, and everything
So
was
I
Like
get
little
thrown.
gems happen, right?
things that film people would do with a massive rain machine.
Right.
If they had the budget, we were lucky enough nature did it for us.
But
You
it
know?
was kind of like just working with what the environment dictated
Catching
to
the
you.
That is
timing
the
perfect.
film. That's
Yep.
exactly the film.
That's all it is.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Because we filmed over such a long time, different seasons. So
That's
we
right.
had both the dry grass of summer and then the greenery of winter.
That's true.
And so when I'm thrown to the ground, it's this beautiful splash motion.
Yep.
So just things like that. You have to work with what you have available.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because we don't have the luxury of having millions of dollars
That's right.
to spend on different things. And like the Lewin, we had 4 hours to
Yeah,
shoot.
on one
this
day of the year.
massive,
Yeah.
massive
One
scene.
day of the year.
Yeah.
They were only docked for one day, and so we were like, we got to get what we can get, and I think we were very, very lucky. We had some weird things happen, like we were going to shoot a scene. I don't think you were filming for this, Pete, but we were going to shoot a scene at the beach, and then a plane actually crashed.
No,
A
we didn't.
light
I wasn't
plane.
there for that. No.
There was a light engine plane crashed at the beach, so they shut down the entire beach. Yes. Who knows? How does this happen?
And
Who
also,
knows?
I wasn't there for this one, but you actually got the fire brigade called on you, didn't you, for one of them?
Yeah, we had like a fake little light in the forest, and 4 fire trucks, I think it was, showed up. Ended up getting a picture with all the firemen. They were very interested. But like, say that beach one, we then shot it at a different beach, and we got an incredible sunset.
Oh, that was great. I was there for that. That was the shot of the film. Again, you got to see the film to see what it's ridiculous. It looks almost fake.
Well, we
It's so
can't-
beautifully done.
I can't wait.
Oh.
I just cannot wait to see it. I'm excited. Where can we find it again? Tell us again.
www.saltandhoneyproductions.com.au if you would like the DVD or to learn anything about the film. And I've got my Where Dead Things Grow is my latest short. That's going to have stuff on there. And I'm currently writing my next big feature.
Oh my goodness,
Yes.
you're a busy lady.
Yes, which is going to be, I think, like bigger, better, and probably more intense to get done. But I'm up for the challenge, and WA cast and crew, and we're going to get it done.
Amazing. So when's the short feature out?
That's currently in the last stages
Okay.
of production, so color graded music.
Yep.
And then we're hoping to enter that into the festivals.
Ooh,
and then,
exciting.
just working on the next big feature, which is very exciting.
I love that. I love that.
As long as there's no boats in that feature, that's all right.
Definitely no boats,
Or
no
jetties.
canaries. No canaries. The canary was a lot of fun to work with.
She was great.
Yeah, she was very chirpy, very very excited. But I have a scene where I'm actually holding her in my hand.
Oh.
And I didn't want to use the real bird for that because we're on the ocean. And
Yeah, and
So here's a little trick of the trade. I actually purchased a taxidermied canary
yeah.
and hand painted it. I'm holding it in my hand, and then I got some people that I know to CG its eye blinking and its head moving so that it looks like it's alive in my hand.
Yeah.
Oh
Pretty-
my
pretty cool.
gosh.
Pretty
And
cool.
people say, "Oh my gosh, that bird was so well behaved." And I was like, it was in my fridge yesterday. It's just one of those things. You got to do what you got to do.
Great
We're gonna
stuff.
see
Yes.
the movie, The Canary.
Thank you
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
much for coming in,
Thank you so
Emily,
much
and
for
telling
having
us
me.
your story, because I'm sure so many people are going to feel very inspired by your story and what you're doing. And I can't wait to see what you come out with in the future.
Thank you so much. And whether it's music or film, the more people in WA creating, the better it is for all of us. So get out there and make something awesome.
You heard it. All right. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next time.
Catch you later.
Hi everyone, this is Jardel from Big Things Coming, and we are looking for more guests for our show. So if you're into music, dance, the arts, photography, videography, anything in between, any genres, feel free to send us a message and we'll get you on our show.